here to connect money and corporate rule. Last year's federal tax cuts sounded like a relief to many Americans, but the numbers tell a different story. Interest payments on the federal debt are now projected to surpass what the United States spends on Medicare. Let that sink in. We are spending more servicing debt than keeping our elderly healthy. It trickles down to us. Right here at the local level, we see it in tax abatements handed out to corporations as incentives to build here, investments that often fail to deliver the promised jobs and tax revenue while shifting the burden to homeowners and small businesses. We see it in school budgets squeezed year after year, in deferred road repairs, in libraries cutting hours, in emergency services stretched thin. This is austerity, not as an abstract concept, but as the lived reality of our community. And here is where the story gets more complicated. The money that governments borrow, most of it is created by private banks as loans at interest for profit. Each dollar that flows through our public institutions was first conjured into existence to serve someone else's bottom line. We borrow what could be ours. We pay interest on what we, as a society, could create. That is not a law of nature. It is a policy choice. I also want to name the billions of dollars that corporations and billionaires are pouring into elections. They're not doing this out of civic spirit. They're doing it to protect and expand systems that concentrate wealth and power in their hands. And it's working. The more money flows into politics, the harder it becomes to challenge the monetary arrangements, the tax structures, and the budget priorities that keep ordinary people and local governments like ours in a permanent squeeze. But it doesn't have to be this way. There is a piece of federal legislation called the American Monetary Reform Act. It proposes something straightforward but transformative, that the government should create money as a public utility, not leave that power almost exclusively in the hands of private banks. Under this framework, governments would no longer need to rely so heavily on borrowing to fund public goods. The first use of newly created money would go towards the public rather than private profit. That includes meaningful revenue sharing with state and local governments, resources that could fund our schools, our roads, our health services without the constant threat of austerity. This is one piece of a larger puzzle. We also need to address the concentration of political power directly. The We the People Act and the work we move to amend are aimed at ending the constitutional fiction that corporations have the same rights as human beings, the legal framework that allows unlimited money to flood our elections and override the will of actual humans. These are not small reforms, but neither is the problem small. We're talking about escaping a cycle of austerity, reclaiming democratic sovereignty, and ensuring that the resources of this nation serve its people rather than a shrinking class of the extraordinarily wealthy. I urge you to look into the American Monetary Reform Act and the We the People Act. I urge you to ask hard questions about where our money comes from, who benefits from our borrowing, and what it would mean to do things differently. The people of this community deserve governments that can actually govern. That means having the resources and the political independence to do so.